Hey Pranav, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Just for the interest of the broader audience, if you could introduce yourself, what you do currently and where you're coming from, that'd be really great.
Hi everyone, I am Pranav. I'm the product manager for the B2B business line in Unilever. I look after the Southeast Asia region, and the exposure to marketing, obviously, it's a peripheral thing around the commerce business, and that's where my thing around WebEngage starts. I am from Maharashtra, and Marathi as a language, but have been in a lot of places in India, so very accustomed to the overall things.
Nice. Have you ever worked in the Indian market as well before
Yes.
this? Right. So how different is Southeast Asia as compared to India?
So a lot of things. What will happen is it's culturally different. Here, people have that hustle culture. When you talk about businesses and customers, there it will mostly be around trust and a lot of things around being a win-win thing. It might be a zero-sum game sometimes here.
Oh, okay. And I'm guessing you have zero educational background when it comes to retention because most B schools and most institutions don't teach retention as a concept. So how did you end up in this role?
So it was a business need at the start because if I just talk about the business line, right? So what has happened is we're trying to digitize the entire retail space, and if you see, it's a like age-old, century-old business, right? So we already have customers. Now the idea is that when we make them digital savvy or bring them on digital things, the main thing which comes out and the main KPI is around retention, because we need to retain them on that platform. They are already doing business with us for more than 100 years now, and it's more so retention as a thing. We did not, as a business, try to go there. It was a need of the hour, and that's where retention as a concept itself came in, and overall WebEngage happened basically.
Nice. So since it was a business need and you were sort of paradropped in this situation, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self something that you learned very later on in your career, what would that be?
Yeah. So what happens is that with so much data and so much savviness around hyper personalization, custom segments, and those things, we get sometimes really overworked. So what I will tell my younger self, and this has been a challenging things when we started doing campaigning, right? That when you go too micro, the targeting is too less, and the campaigns actually do not give you any result. And the idea is that start with a very broad thing and then start cohorting. So if this is like a marketeer talking, right? So the idea is that keep it very simple and let the market tell you what needs to happen more, rather than you thinking 100 scenarios in your mind and then doing very complex things. Start simple and then go deep.
So would you say when you start short term, start with short term visions and short term wins, and then eventually look at long term wins and long term goals?
Yes. So rather than that, right, having a long term goal, but do not being obsessive around it, because what happens is you have 100 scenarios in your mind how to attain that goal. You're not taking market feedback very fast. So the idea is start with a very, while the long term goal would be there, start with having a very broad set of things and then start learning and pivoting basically.
Interesting. So now we've spoken about what you would change in the past. I want to understand what is that one thing you change for the future.
Okay, interesting question. What I will change is that, frankly, I would want the teams to be a little. So what happens is there are two, when it comes to specifically marketing or specifically, let's say this space, right? The retail marketing space. There is a lot of extremes. Either people do a lot of things very creatively and then forget about data, or either people go too much into data. So what I really want to do in future is that somewhere there has to be a blend, that creativity is enhanced by data and vice versa, right? The data, like creativity enhances data and data then because of certain creativeness, we go back to the data. So it is
Probably
a play
creating
around,
like a separate vertical or a designation that's creative data scientist,
something like that,
something like that. So
which basically then blends everything together, right? Otherwise, it's more that a person is either left or right. There is no centric approach towards marketing, something like that.
Get it. So with that, we come to the next segment of this conversation, which is never have I ever. Okay, I'll give you this tag. You raise this if you feel you've done something or you've not done something. So first question, never have I ever created a failed campaign and then blamed it on somebody else.
Okay, so not in the current company, but yes, this was something which was there in the first few months of the job, because you're super tense that what will happen. So not really blamed on somebody else as a peer, but mostly like the boss that I did not understand. But
most people usually blame other teams. Like, content is bad, design is bad. You directly went to your boss. Nice, I like that. Never have I ever sent a campaign with failed personalization tags. Those F names and bracket and things like that.
So not really to that extent, but something similar. We were supposed to send it to one cohort. We sent it to a different one. So have done that, but again, not in this job. Yeah.
That's still better. I get emails where people have tried to bold their email subject lines. They put B tags in their subject line.
So yeah, content wise, I have never, but targeting wise, we have.
All right, super. Never have I ever tweaked my reports to save my ass.
Okay, not really, because the thing was, so not tweaking, at least reporting layer of it, never, because frankly all the three companies which I've worked with, there has never been a pressure situation like that where you need to tweak numbers, right? It was more that like the numbers are there now, like can't do anything. So I've taken like hard stuff from people because we did not meet business goals, but like not like tweaking or something.
Nice.
Not
and
come to that.
Last one, never have I ever sprayed a campaign to achieve month-end numbers.
Okay, once, but learned it the hard way that it does not help. So
nice.
I just like exhausted the budget really fast.
Okay.
But did not help really. Yeah.
Super. So coming to the last question of the day, right? I want to understand from you. You got the 30 under 30 award last year. How has that been beneficial, or how has that made a change or brought about a change in your life?
Okay, so two things. I'll be candid about this. The first one is recognition, personally as well as professionally. A little bit more in terms of personal recognition, that people talk to you about it. Professionally also, some leaders in the organization noticed you. That was one thing. And specifically coming from a bigger organization, it's hard to get visibility in that sense. The second thing is that sometimes when you go and talk to the market, right, with you having this tag, people start taking you more seriously. So that has been a little change. Otherwise, from like a recognition point of view outside the ecosystem or my cohort, people at least have reached out saying that what are things which you guys are doing and stuff like that. So some interaction around that as well.
Nice, brilliant. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for
taking out
having
me,
time.
Chirag.
It is my pleasure. I look forward to connecting with you once more to have a little more detailed discussion around this topic. We'll sort of do it around your current organization, because I'm sure a lot of people would want to know how Unilever is changing things, right? So we'll do that. We'll do another round of this conversation pretty soon.
Sure.
Thank you so much for taking it.
Thank you. Yeah.